We're gonna get started tonight in supported bridge. So grab on to either pillows if you have a block handy, or even a bigger book will work too. You're gonna bring the block to your sacrum or your very low back area. So you'll just get into a comfortable position on your back, feet planted on the floor. And when you have found a good position for your body, you'll just lift up your hips, slide your prop underneath your low back area. You may need to wiggle a bit to get it in place. And how you'll know it's in the right sweet spot is if you could lift your legs up into the air to test your balance. So just find where that feels good for you. And then plant your feet back on the ground if you lifted them up to test that out. Just roll your shoulders down your back. And you can bring your palms either to your belly to start tuning into your breath, bringing some awareness there, or you can bring them down to the ground. But just my recommendation is to face them down towards the ground, just for some grounding. So if you don't want them on your belly, facing your palms down will help just get you starting to relax, unwind. You may have had a stressful day or week, and your mind might be racing right now. So just try to tune in to your breath. Start to elongate. Every time you inhale, just allow your belly to fully expand out. As much air as you can, bring it in. And then on your exhale, just imagine that your belly button is drawing into your spine. So just start to tune in and pay attention to that. And if your eyes are not closed, just softly close your eyes. Again, try to stay as still as you can. Our restorative practice is so tough sometimes because we have such an urge to fidget, to move, to want to be doing. And so this next 60 minutes, just challenge yourself to stay as still as possible throughout each posture. You may need to make some adjustments and modifications to help you get deeper into the stretch as we hold them for a few minutes. But beyond that, see if you can just cultivate some stillness in your body. It'll really help you start to really relax and tune in to your body and what's going on around you, rather than being in your head about things. If you joined us a little bit late, we're just in supported bridge, so just find a comfortable shape. You can bring a block or a pillow underneath your low back. And again, just a reminder to try to stay as still as possible. It may seem counterproductive sometimes when we're in such postures. You know, it's almost like, how could I be doing anything right now? I just feel like I'm laying here. But you're really giving your body a break. Your heart is lower than other parts of your body that typically it's not. So it's giving your heart a little bit of a rest. And you're softly opening your body, just being in supported bridge. So start to pay attention to how you felt before you logged into class. And then at the end of class, hopefully you feel more open, a little bit lighter, more relaxed and calm. Take a deep breath in. And a full open mouth, side out, let something go. Again, allow your belly to really expand out as far as you can. Just really deep belly breath. Hold at the top. And then exhale, let something go. Take a few more rounds of breath here. Again, just really tuning in to your breathing. We tend to shallow breath throughout the day, especially if you've been really stressed out or anxious. So just trying to lengthen and mindfully lengthen your breathing will really help you start to relax and just get into this practice. Two more rounds of breath here. Breathe in something good, something that you still need for this practice tonight. Breathe out something that you don't. Slowly on your next inhale, just lift up your hips enough to move your prop out of the way. And then slowly lower back down. Bring your knees into your chest and just gently rock from side to side. Just allow some movement in your low back. When you're ready, start to extend your left leg out long on your mat and keep your right knee in towards your chest. And we'll just hold your knee here to allow your spine to reset. Your whole entire back body is on the ground except for your right leg. So can you start to nudge your right knee in towards your right armpit? Just to allow for a little bit of opening, gentle opening in the hip area. Keep breathing there. Then hopefully your strap that you have is close by, so grab onto that. And again, if you've got a belt, a dog leash, a tie, or a yoga strap, or anything else long, grab onto that. And you'll bring it to the ball mount of your foot, so the fleshy part right by your toes. Avoid the middle part of your foot, and just hook it on there. Extend your leg long. And then, when you're ready, just start to nudge your toes towards the crown of your head. And you'll want to keep your left leg as straight as you can on the mat. So if it starts to bend too much or come off, just back off of this a little bit. And again, also you want to release the tension in your arms. So if you're grasping onto your strap with deer might, just see if you can start to slide your hands down so that your elbows can touch down on the mat and just release a little bit. Just breathe in here. Our hamstrings are likely very tight, especially if you have low back issues. You might be experiencing a lot of tension in your right leg right now. So just breathe in, and you'll notice that after holding this for a few minutes, you'll start to really open up and lengthen, and we're lengthening every part of our body right now. So just breathe into that. And if you haven't, you can close your eyes. Your hamstrings are really tight. Just send some breath there. Imagine that they're lengthening out as we're laying here. And if you've done this before, you know that you are creating length in your body, because when we put our right leg down to meet our left after a few minutes here, you're going to notice that your right leg is actually a little bit longer than your left. So if this is a little bit tough for you, just picture that. Know that you are creating so much space in your body. Got about 10 seconds left before we start to shift over towards the right. So on your next exhale, just start to slowly shift your right foot towards the right side of the room. And you'll want to keep your hips squared and centered on the mat. So if your left butt cheek starts to come off of the mat, you've gone too far. So just see if you can keep your opening towards the right side, but not too far. So if you're looking at the hands of a clock, you would either be at like a 2 or a 3 o'clock position with your foot. And if you are tensing up in your right hand to hold onto that strap, just see if you can slide it down again to rest it on the floor to give yourself a little bit of a break. Use your breath here. Don't try to go too far. Just see where you can release and let go. Sending your breath to any areas of tension. We have 30 more seconds here before we move over to the left. So take in what you still need. Have comfort knowing that we're switching over towards the left side soon. Take a deep breath in. And then big open mouth, sigh out, let something go. Again, breathe in. And on your exhale, start to shift your foot towards the left-hand side. Grab onto the strap with your left hand. And see if you can nudge your hip over enough to, you should feel this in your IT band and your hip area on your right side. And your foot should be, if you're looking at the dial of a clock, around 9 or 10 o'clock position, just depending on how open you are. So you find your edge, your comfort level. It's gonna look different tonight than it did last time you tried this. And just depending again on how really open you are, how open your low back is, how open your hamstrings are will really determine a lot of this. So just have some grace and some patience with yourself as you continue to open here. Really use your breath, tune into that. Close your eyes. Thirty more seconds. Again, just using your breath here to get you through. Softening your grip if you're gripping onto your strap really hard. Just relaxing your fingers a little bit. Take a deep breath in. And on your exhale, make your way back to center. See if you can nudge your toes just a little bit towards the crown of your head. And on the exhale, slightly bend your knee, remove the strap. And keep your foot up in the air and extend it so that you can start to lower it down towards your left foot. And just take a moment to notice the lengthening that you've created and how your right foot is just slightly longer than your left. And we will even that out. We're gonna take our left knee into our chest. Just hold it here for about a minute to release our low back. And if you can, just start to nudge your knee in towards your left armpit by grabbing onto your shin and just guiding it over a little bit more. And flex your foot. Just really helps set us up for strap series. So just taking this time to ground, to really get into this hip area. When you're ready, take your strap on the ball nut of this foot. Extend your left leg long. And guide your left toes towards the crown of your head and just hold it here. Again, you might want to slide your fingers down your straps so that your elbows can touch down on the mat and just relax them there. Really relax the tension in your upper body. So if you find that you're gripping onto this strap to try to hold your leg up so much, see where you can release some tension by rolling your shoulders down your back. Release the tension in your face. Close your eyes. Use your breath here to help hold you up. As you're laying here and you're paying attention to the tension in your leg, can you bring your awareness back to your breath? How we started class, and just, are you using your belly to do your breathing? So on your inhales, are you expanding your belly wide? And then on your inhales, bringing it back in. And if you're not, or if you haven't paid attention to what you're doing, just start to think about that. Bring your awareness there. And on your next exhale, start to slowly guide your leg over towards the left-hand side. Just to start to open up. Again, this side might be more open or not as open as the other side, so you might not be able to get as far, or perhaps this side is a little bit more flexible, you can get a little bit further, but just finding where you're comfortable. And that's gonna look different. And as you know from the other side, we aren't here forever. So just bringing your attention to what we are doing right now. About 30 more seconds on this side. Just breathing in what you still need, letting go of what you don't. Slowly, on your next exhale, start to make your way over towards the right-hand side with your foot. And you should start to feel that stretch all along your left IT band, your left hip. Finding a shape that feels good for you, that you can hold on to. Again, release the tension in your jaw. If you're scrunching up your eyebrows or just other parts of your face, to see where you can release some tension. You just soften ever so slightly to relax. few more rounds of breath here. Seeing what you can still let go of. On your next inhale, slowly make your way back to center. Nudge your toes just a little bit more towards the crown of your head. And when you're ready, start to slightly bend your knees to release the strap and push that off to the side. And then just extend your leg long so you can meet your right. Hopefully they feel even now. Just take a moment to feel that out. Slowly on your next inhale, bring your knees into your chest. Tee out your arms. Start to nudge your knees over towards your left-hand side for a supine twist. So the goal is to keep both of your shoulder blades grounded on the mat. So if you need to back your twist off a little bit to allow that to happen, you can always put a prop underneath your left knee. Or if you've got some low back things going on, a pillow or a block in between your knees might feel really good here as well. But once you've figured out your shape that you can hold here, start to take your gaze over towards your right fingertips. And then once you get there, just softly close your eyes. So taking time to set up properly. But you should feel some opening in your low back area. And twists are really good for bringing out and let something go. So just take this time that we're going to spend this twist to just imagine things that are out of your control or things that have happened in the past that you can just start to slowly let go of. You might have had an extra challenging day at work today. Or maybe this week has just been really overwhelming for you. So instead of focusing your attention and awareness there, a lot of times our mind gravitates towards our stress and things that we just love to keep in that loop, that constant mental loop. So instead of paying attention to that stuff, pay attention to what you're doing right now. You are allowing your body to relax and rinse out. You are taking time for yourself and start to feel the sensations that you feel in your body. So bring your awareness and attention there. So maybe in your low back, you feel an opening starting to happen. And you are gently massaging your internal organs by being in this twist. So that's helping to release and detoxify our body. And again, just bringing some attention to your breathing. Perhaps you even take your left palm and place it on your belly while you're laying here, just to tune into your breath. Seeing where you can continue to slow down your breathing. Slow down your thoughts. We're halfway through already on this side. So if you do need to make any minor adjustments, you can definitely do that. But again, our practice it's so important to stay still. And it's so hard to do. It seems so easy. I just have to lay here. But we tend to fidget, especially when we're uncomfortable. So where can you start to find comfort in the discomfort? Slowly on the next inhale, start to bring your knees back to the center. And you might want to gently rock from side to side just to help release your low back. You stretched it out for quite a bit here, so just take some time. And before we head to the other side, we're going to take supine butterfly or Supta Baddha Konasana if you're familiar with our vinyasa practice. So soles of your feet to touch, knees out wide. You might find that props underneath your knees would feel really good just to allow for opening, but that your knees don't have to hang heavy while we're hanging out here. So find what feels good to you. Again, roll your shoulders on your back. And if you would like, you can bring your hands to your belly, again, to just tune into your breathing, or you can bring them palms facing down to get some grounding. So if you've been extra anxious or just had a ton of stressful things happen lately, grounding might be a really great tool for you to use. So just bring your hands facing down and just imagine as you're laying here, a really good grounding exercise is just imagine that you're connecting with the earth underneath you, and you can picture the layers of rock and grass and all those things underneath your fingertips. You just pretend that you're outside, or just even what's beneath you and the floor, to just tune into and tap into your body and laying on the ground. So again, find what feels good to you. Close your eyes when you get there. And this one's a really good one for low back issues. So if you do have a really tight back, low back, achy back, this one's really good for opening not only the back side of our body, but also the front side of our body too. To really tune into your breathing here. Try not to fidget. We're halfway through this posture already. So try to stay where you're at and just enjoying this opening that you're doing for your body. On your next inhale, slowly close your knees back together like a book. Bring your knees into your chest. Just sway from side to side, just to loosen up your low back. And when you're ready, tee out your arms. Bring your knees towards the right side of your mat for a supine twist towards the right. And again, you might find you would love a prop in between your knees or underneath your right knee just to bring the ground a little bit closer to you. Pay attention to your shoulder blades. Are they both anchored into the mat? And once you've found a really good shape for this side, you can start to take your gaze over towards your left fingertips and softly close your eyes once you make your way there. This side's going to feel different than the other side. Perhaps your low back feels a little bit more open. Just seeing what you can continue to release. And if you haven't done so already, try to relax the muscles in your face. So releasing your jaw. We're more than halfway through this side. So if you've been fidgeting at all or just moving around, just try to be still. Slowly on your next inhale, when you're ready, to bring your knees back in towards the center. I'm just taking a moment here to release your low back. You can rock from side to side. Just let that go. We're gonna take sleeping swan or half pigeon if you're familiar with that. If you wanna take it on your back, you can stay on your back here and you'll just drape your right ankle over your left knee and you can nudge your knee away. But if you'd like to take the full variation, start to make your way to a tabletop position. And you'll bring your right knee in towards your right wrist and your right ankle in towards your left wrist. And extend your left leg long behind you. Take a peek over either shoulder just to bring your hips down to the mat. And unless your right leg, your shin is extremely parallel to the top of your mat, which for most of us is not going to be. Just point your toes just to help protect your low back. Inhale, take your gaze up. Then exhale, start to crawl forward. And if it's not accessible to put your forehead down to your mat, get some kind of prop, either a pillow or a block, just to bring that closer to you. But you want to find a shape that you can hold here for a few minutes. We tend to do pigeon in our vinyasa classes, but we don't hold it for nearly as long. So if you need to, you can also put some kind of prop underneath your right hip to help support, since we are holding this for a little bit longer. So if you have a pillow or a block, you can place something under there. And again, you can always do this on your back if this is just not feeling right to you tonight. Pay attention to your body, find a shape that's going to work for you. But whatever posture you're in, just close your eyes. You will feel a lot of sensation in your right hip. And we tend to store a lot of stress and tension in that area. So just start to think of things that you can let go of to continue to open up. And if you need, supine pigeon is always a great alternative. But pigeon's gonna feel different from week to week, just really based on how open you are, but also how much stress you have going on. So you've been suppressing a lot of things, storing stuff, saying you're fine, but really you're not fine. You may find that pigeon's just incredibly tough for you tonight. And pigeon also brings up a lot of emotion for some people. So if you tend to start feeling, all the things that have been going on and this is just bringing them up for you, just allow them to release. Storing them is why our hips are so tight and why we have so many issues with low back issues and just a host of other problems because of our hips. Sometimes if your hips are really tight, you actually can even have like neck and shoulder issues because it's all connected, and tight hips lead to other stuff going on. So just really allow this time to breathe in and open up, because you're gonna find that you will open up in other areas of your body as well by doing so. We're halfway through already on this side, so that brings a slight smile to your face, knowing that we're already almost halfway out. Breathe into that, send any breath to any tense spots. To soften into the mat, bringing your breath to your hip area, releasing the muscles in your face. This one, we tend to really scrunch up our face muscles when this is challenging, so just See where you can soften here. Only got 30 more seconds before we peel our way off of our mat to get out of this side. So just spend some breath. Now we're almost done. And when you're ready, just slowly make your way out. So since we held it for so long, really take your time. It might feel good to extend your right leg back towards the back of your mat and just step into your toes, or you might be craving some slight knee circles here in tabletop position. Again, just whatever feels good to you. Take some organic movements to get some blood flow back on that side. And if you're on your back, you'll just stop it out. But if you are taking traditional sleeping swan or half pigeon, you'll just come back to tabletop and start to bring your left knee in towards your left wrist and your left ankle in towards your right wrist. And again, point your toes, take a peek over either shoulder to really help you get into this, to ground your hips down. And you might want a prop underneath your left hip, if that will help you. Take your gaze up and then slowly start to crawl your way down to half pigeon on this side. So again, you might need a prop underneath your forehead to allow that towards the mat. You can also use your hands as a pillow, or perhaps your forearms to just place your forehead down. Should be on something just to touch down to the ground. And then this side is going to feel different than the other side. So you might have a lot more tension in this side. For me, this side's a lot more tense for me. But it might be opposite for you. So you might be like, oh, this is actually not as horrible as my right side was. So wherever you're at, just send some breath there and allow the opening to start to happen on this side. And it seems like so much when you're in it, but when you get out of it, it's so worth the time we spend here just to open this all up. So don't bring more attention to your body by scrunching up your face or tensing your jaw. Just see where you can release there. And then also in your upper body, if you're really bringing a lot of tension to your shoulders, see if you can just start to release that there. Roll your shoulders down. And again, you might need a prop underneath your forehead to allow that to happen. So sometimes it feels really great to bring a pillow to your chest area so that you can really just fold in and relax here and not have to support your upper body while your lower body is doing so much opening. So if you need to make any adjustments to get to a spot where you can really open, try to find that. But we're already halfway through this side. So again, just bringing awareness to your breath. always tell what kind of week I've had when I get into pigeon. If it hasn't been too stressful or it hasn't had a lot of stuff going on, not as terrible to be in this spot, but for me specifically, this is very challenging. So you might find that is the same for you, and this is just a way to let that stuff go. And to also be more mindful of your day-to-day and how much you are storing in your hip area versus, you know, dealing with it as it's happening. So this is just a good reminder for me personally to deal with things as they come instead of holding onto it and waiting till restorative practice to release. And your next inhale, slowly start to make your way out. And again, very slowly. That is key in this posture, especially if you are extra tight. You don't want to rush out of it. But again, just finding a counter pose to loosen the side back up, bring the elbow back in. So you might want to extend your leg long, or perhaps some circles in one direction and then the other. Feel really good here, just to loosen that back up, just taking some time to get in a good spot. And when you're ready, we're going to come down to our seat for a seated forward fold. So you might need to grab onto a couple different blocks or pillows. If you have a combination of both, you can use those here. But remove any excess flesh from your seat so that your sit bones can really ground into the mat before we fold forward. And you'll use your props to stack in between your legs so that your forehead can ground down on something. So you might need to play around with the height of these things a few times just to get it right. But for me, I am just putting my block on its highest height, and then I'm just balancing a throw pillow on top of that. And on your inhale, bring your arms up, your gaze up, and then slowly start to hinge forward so you feel your spine start to round. And that's your cue to just allow your head and neck to hang heavy. And this is where you might need to make some adjustments with your props just to allow your forehead to ground down on something. Since we are holding this seated forward fold for a little bit longer this evening, you'll want to have those props available just so that your head and neck can rest as well, and you don't have to hold them up as you're releasing your low back in this forward fold. So find a shape that feels good to you. Again, it might take a little bit to get into it. But once you're there, if you could just close your eyes, breathe in deep to this forward fold. They're so good for relaxation and resetting our parasympathetic nervous system. It's really great if you're feeling super anxious or just overwhelmed. They're really calming and soothing. So it might be super weird if you just randomly go into a forward fold throughout your day, but if you can take a break, if you are still working at home or have some availability in your day, even in the morning or when you get home from work, if you are going back to work now, you can just gently get into a forward fold and you should instantly feel some relief of just giving your body just a little bit of a reset. Just really start to slow down your breath if you haven't done so already. And tune into this. We're more than halfway through. So some of you, if you've really opened up your low back since we've been hanging out in this forward fold, you might want to adjust your props just ever so slightly to a lower height, just to get a little bit further into this if you can. Again, the goal is to try to stay still, so don't fidget if you don't need to, but if you're just craving for some more opening, you can perhaps lower one of your props or remove one of your props if you've got a couple, and just see where this can take you. And your next inhale, slowly start to make your way out. Move any props off to the side. And just bring your hands behind your low back with your fingertips facing your glutes, and just slightly windshield wiper your knees from one side or the other just to release our low backs. And when you're ready, start to make your way back down to your back. One vertebrae at a time, slowly lower down. And if you can believe it, it's already ready for our final resting posture, our Shavasana, which is the most important part of our yoga practice. And my recommendation, if you do have an area where you can come to a wall or get your knees elevated so that you can bring your legs up, either on a wall or even if you have a couch nearby and you can use that as a prop. Legs up the wall is just really helpful to reset and really soothing and calming right before bed. So try that if you haven't already. You'll just bring your glutes as close as you can to the wall, extend your legs up, and then you can bring your hands either down on the ground or to your belly. If you don't have a wall accessible nearby, or you would rather just take a normal Shavasana shape, just extend out into a comfortable position that feels good to you. You might want some blocks or pillows underneath your knees just to gently open. And again, you can bring your hands to your belly or to the earth, facing down with your palms just to get some more grounding. Release any tension that might be lingering in your face as you soften your jaw muscle and release your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Roll your shoulders on your back. And on your next exhale, just enjoy your rest and try to stay as still as you can in your final resting shape. Shavasana is here for you as long as you need. And if you're really relaxed right now, please tune me out and stay where you're at. You're in your own space and you can continue to relax and unwind. Please do so. If you want to gently reawaken just so that you can get into bed or wrap up what you need to do before you can get into bed for the rest of your evening, start to bring some awareness to your body. You might want to just gently wiggle your toes and your fingertips. Make your way to either side just for a brief stop in fetal pose. Softly close your eyes. And then when you're ready, you can slowly make your way to a comfortable seated position. Bring your hands to heart center and close your eyes if you haven't done so already. Take a deep breath in and a full open mouth sigh out. Thank you guys so much for spending your evening with me. I hope this has helped you release something, relax a little bit, and I hope you all sleep so good tonight. Namaste.